right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's William, and I am going to be I'm going to be running this webinar for you this afternoon. Now, just before we get underway, I do have a couple of quick housekeeping items to talk to you about first. I have my panelists, so I've got Anna and Alex will be joining us as well today. They will be monitoring the webinar chat where you can come through and ask questions about anything we're going through today. The session today will be recorded and this will be uploaded to YouTube after the webinar has been completed, and a copy will be sent out to you as well, so you can share it at that point too. Now, like I said, as we go through, if you do have questions, pop them into the chat and we will try to answer them through there as quickly as promptly as possible. Now, the purpose of today's webinar is we'll be looking to explore what we're going to be looking to really get into a little bit more depth and explore what we can do with communicating to our owners, our tenants using the mobile ROL. Now, I'm going to start this off with a quick poll, and here we go. It's popping that up on screen for you. Hopefully I haven't got any spelling mistakes in there, but this poll's just going to help me navigate through today and give me a bit of an idea regarding who you guys are as teams and as users of IRE. As I really want to explore some of the settings we can set up to enhance our use of mobile ROL, as well as look at some of the messages and then working with mobile ROL to make our communication to our owners and our tenants and our other agents even more efficient. Because realistically, at the end of the day, the job of a property manager is to make the lives of the owner easier and hopefully the tenant as well. And if we can do so by making our lives easier, that'd be great. And that's really what IRE is there to help you with. All right, so we've got a few answers coming back through. Okay, a bit of a spread, a few people doing their own inspections. Some people have just share everything across the team, about a 50-50 between those two, and at least one team of people has a leasing team. And I'm glad you all complete your on lists. So that's good to hear. All right, cool. All right, so some of you have gone through and had a look at your messages. Some of you haven't had a look at your settings and messages. So there will be a bit to learn through there as well. All right, let's end that poll there for now. Thank you for filling that out. I appreciate it. All right, now, as I said, the agenda here today is to explore how we can set up IRE to get the most out of the mobile ROL, to also demonstrate those settings and messages in action so we can see what's happening there, and understanding how that can help us with our reporting back to our owners. With that said, let's jump into our system. And that looks good to me. Okay, and we are going to start off where nearly everything always starts off when we are looking at our when we are looking at inspect real estate, and that is with our on list. Now, I have an on list I've pre-prepared here just to go through a couple of quick talking points that are going to allow me to lead into a few of the other things I want to talk about. But there's a few key things in here which can help us down the line when we're conducting inspections. Let's go ahead and action this one here. Now, I am going to jump ahead a few, as I really just want to talk about a few things in here. Of course, we are always, or as a reminder, filling in our contact information for our occupants. That will help us out, at least with regards to some of the automated messaging within the system. We want to make sure, however, we are putting our owner details in here. Now, I know this seems obvious, but we really like to reiterate it, because without the owner details in here, a lot of what I'm going to be going through today is not really going to work for you. So you always want to make sure this is accurate and up to date, even if it's pulled it through from a previous listing that has been released. You know. Now, the one I really want to talk about today, though, is here on step 5. A bit of an unusual one. Well, not necessarily unusual, it's always been here, but something I have found tends to get slept on. And that is the merge fields for properties. And specifically as an example in this one, I'm putting in some property specific information, which we can see here for this particular property, which I want to pull through to all of my inquiry responses that are going out to the tenants that are asking for an inspection on this particular property. By putting this into here, that is going to automatically pull through to those responses. I'll show you how that looks just in a second. Let's just finish this off by going through, got an inspection in there. Oop, no one's looking to inspect, but we'll fix that in a second. And we're just going to close that off, completing our on list, of course. Now, I mentioned that we have that property specific section of our on list. Now, this is where it comes through to one of the first groups of settings that I want to have a look at, and that is our message settings. Now, as you guys anyone who's used IRE knows, the big thing IRE does for you to take a lot of time off your hands is it responds to the inquiries as they come through. It does a lot more than that as well, of course, but that's really that first point where it kind of starts to kick in. Now, in this particular case, I want to have a look at reply times available message. This is the message that goes out when someone inquires on one of your properties, but doesn't register to an inspection. It's a pretty straightforward message. And through the system, you can come through and have a look at it through your messages and letting settings. If you don't have access to this, one of your Diamond users certainly will. And I'm just going to blow this message up using this little icon here. It allows me to see the whole thing. This is the content of the message. And specifically in this message, we have a property specific info merge field. That merge field there is going to pull through that information I put in earlier so that when someone inquires on this property, all of that information goes into there. And I did send myself a message earlier just so I could show this to you. And I'm going to bring that up on screen now so you can see what that looks like in an actual message. Here we go. So this was an inquiry I sent through on the property we've just put through. Now this was inspection times are available. We can register. So this was a register link. And in here, it has my property specific information that I put in earlier. Therefore, giving me that option to provide that to the tenants so that they have that in those messages. Now, I'm not saying that you should, but it's always also worthwhile having a look at the template that's being used. And you can certainly reword that if you feel like there's too much on the page. This is a custom one within my system, which I might look at tidying up a little bit. Of course, well, I should also mention, naturally, if we do have toApply turned on for our system, you can have, or you'll find that often these messages will have that toApply link in there as well. All right, now let's jump back into IRE just for a moment. There we go. Which point we're back to here. Now, there's a couple of other messages in here that I want to talk about as we go through, as they will lead into what I want to, a couple of the other settings we want to talk about there too. The next group of messages that I strongly recommend reviewing apologize about that, everyone. My headset just turned off for some reason. Where was I? Okay, so the next messages I strongly recommend reviewing within your system are your inspected owner messages. These are the messages that go out to your, or can go out to your owner post-inspection. And they can be configured to be something that's quick and easy to send once you have completed your inspection. Of which I will show you how these work a little bit later. Now, there's a couple of messages through here which are very, very similar. These first two in particular, I like to highlight. We have a quick report message, which if we switch to the owner message, Looks like this. Pulls in a little bit of information, telling them what the inspection date was, the times, number of registrants, number of attendees, and number of people applying. There's also a PDF version of that same email, where it's the same email in there, except it will attach a copy of your inspection report, of which I'll show you how to generate that in the mobile ROL. We also have your inspected tenant messages. These are the messages that you can send post-inspection through to your tenants. Strongly recommend coming through and reviewing these on a regular basis just to make sure that they match with your current processes, because this is where you can tell your tenants about what happens next. Once they've inspected the property and they're interested in applying, this is where you can put really specific instructions into there. Additionally, there's a message in here called tenant checked in. Now, this is one that is not necessarily sent or set up for all systems to be used off the bat. There is a setting that relates to this. But to give you a bit of an idea of what this message is, it is a message that is sent out to the tenant at the point at which you put their details in and you hit save. It's just a quick welcome message, which point it informs them that you're happy to answer their questions, and they should come to you for more information. And you can see that through here. You can also add more information into this as well. If you wanted to put in a section about if you're interested in applying, please click click the below link, which point we will put in a merge code. Now, I don't expect you to remember this, but if you ever want to know, reach out to our support team and they'll be able to tell you what this merge code is. This is your to apply merge code or agent app phrase. Clicking that there has quickly popped it into my email up the top, and by hitting save, that response that they get when I check them in now has that to apply link in there. Now, not everyone likes to have that turned on, but if you would like to explore putting that on, I'll show you how to do so. And for that, we are going to come down to our settings, our letting settings, and through to our tenant questions. These are specifically our mobile ROL settings. And right in the front page, we have this one here. Send tenant messages automatically on save inspection. What this does is it means that when we save our inspection, it will send the tenant that message that I've just set up, inviting them to talk to me about the property and giving them a link they can use to apply. Hitting save turns that on for my system. Now, while we're here, let's have a look at some of the other mobile ROL options that we have available to us, and starting with mobile ROL tasks. Now, mobile ROL tasks, and this is something where for those of you that, well, to be honest, even if you're working by yourself, these are tasks that you can use to report back on how that property is going. And you can actually use some of these to report to the owner as well. And I'll show you how that works a little bit later. But for now, I'm going to pop in a task here because I work in a team. And I would like for the agent to be sent a report at the end of the inspection on not just how the inspection went, but I'd like to include feedback on the condition of the property. So I'm going to put a task in here for that. Hitting save pops that in, and now that's a task that I'm going to be able to find in my mobile ROL when conducting an inspection for a property. We also have our mobile ROL questions, and this is where we can configure those questions that we can ask per attendee, such as does the property suit your need? What do you think the price should be? Tenant comments. Do you own investment property? Agent comments. The 5 that you're seeing here are the standard ones that come with all IRE systems. And you have the option to add additional questions in here as well if you want to have them within the system. You also, depending on whether or not it's part of your office processes or whether or not you wanted to have it in there at all, you do have the option to come through and disable messages or remove them altogether, depending on what you want to pop in there, as an example. Now, with that said, that's our system set up and ready to go. And now let's go over to our mobile ROL. Coming down to inspections and over to mobile ROLs, just going to open that in my desktop here. I don't have a mobile phone I can show you, so we're just going to have to look at it through here for today. But you, of course, know that this is something you'd access from your phone. All right, so let's find my run for today. Got Daniel Burns here. Daniel Burns is our leasing consultant, and he is out on the road. Checking out his properties, we have 902 at 70 City Road here, the one we just completed our on list for earlier, and it is ready to go. All right, so let's have a look at our tasks first and what we can do here, because we set up a new task just a moment ago. If we come through here, I can see that is now in here as one of my tasks to complete. I also have an option to put in a weekly report comment for this inspection for the owner. Now I'm going to say, yes, our signboard was good, in good condition, in the right location, it's what we expected. And why not? The property was in good condition too. Further than that, I actually have the option to add some photos in as well, where I can come through, I can select a photo I can take a photo of the property, and I could pop it in here as something I want to share with the owner. Let's just say I do want to share with this the owner, so that's where this toggle comes in. And I'm going to say a property was in perfect condition. Might pop another one in here as well, potentially one that I only want to share with the property manager, which might be, say, a maintenance item of some description. Or maybe there's something that the tenant's left for us there that we want to share with them. In this case, I've just got a compliance report of some sort. All right, now hitting save inspection adds that to that particular inspection and is going to give me the option to report that back to the agent and owner soon. All right, now let's get over to our tenants and check in some tenants through here. So of course, we've already got some tenants that have registered. We can see them in here and we can check them in as we go. And we can also check some tenants in at the top. So let's deal with the ones that are already here. So let's start with Kathy. Kathy has in fact intended, and we're going to take her up along with Kevin. They were there hitting save and updating them. We'll get their details in a little bit later. Scrolling up to our quick register, we're going to pop in some new folks. So we're going to go with, I don't know, should be in my system already. There we go, Joe Blogs, and Joe Blogs has attended as well. All right, now let's update a few of these people. So let's just say Joe has come through, had a bit of a look, and has given us some feedback. Keen to apply, and we're going to fill out some of those details. Now you'll note that I no longer have the price in there because I have decided to hide that from my system, as it's not feedback that we want to collect, as it sets the wrong message, or potentially rent bidding has just been straight out outlawed within our area. In this case, Joe said yes, property suits his needs, and through here, I'm going to just pop in a copy, just a note there for the owner. I could say, well presented couple with a small dog. Now, I've asked them, they've said no, they don't own an investment property, and from here, I could put in a comment to go back to the agent. You know, polite, friendly, you know, would rent based on what I observed while I was there. Kathy here, Kathy has said, no, not applying, doesn't fit what she's looking for, but there's no reason why we can't put in some notes. And we will say in this particular case, needs 2 living areas. Maybe she thought it was going to be a bigger apartment than it was. Or something along those lines. She said nope, and then we can get on to the final one. In this case, let's just say that Kevin is applying, has said yes, likes the apartment, but in this particular case, we may actually pop a comment in down here saying, you know, didn't like his vibe, sketchy dude or something like that. which point that can go back to the agent, just providing that feedback through to them. Hitting Save Inspection, obviously, as we go to make sure all of that's saved, pops that in, and now means that we can start to report that back to the agent as well as to the owner. And that's where we come through to our PDF button up here. So let's start with the tenant messages. From our tenant messages, we can obviously come through and start to send out appropriate messages to them depending on what has been sent through to them previously. Now, in this particular case, I'm playing my hand, showing you that I have in fact checked all of these people into this apartment before. But if you hadn't, you of course would see that you hadn't sent anything through to them before. Now, in this, I am going to send out some post-inspection messages, and if we go through and do so, it'll then update, letting us know that that in fact has been sent through to all of them. We do have the option to send it twice if we wanted to, but hopefully you don't need to. Now, coming back through to here, let's now talk about the agent and owner reports. Starting with the agent report. Now, the agent report up the top allows us to send something through to, well, could be to ourselves, could be to the property manager if the property manager has been assigned through the on list, and it contains that internal feedback, such as what the agent comment was about that particular individual, and also any tasks that may need to have been completed through there as well. And you can just hit send, and that'll go out to the property manager. For the owner, it'll have a little bit less information, but you'll be able to see through here. If there are any images that are shared with the owner, you'll be able to see that there, as well as the feedback that we have recorded through here as well. When I send this through to the owner, this will send that out with this. It will send out that email that I showed you earlier, which has a high-level summary of how many people registered, attended, and said they were going to apply. And it'll attach this PDF to that so that we've got that all taken care of in one. And we've done, realistically, regardless of how much I've talked today, if you weren't talking the whole way through it, you'd get that done in a few seconds on your app, and you've got a professional PDF report that's gone out to your owner with tons of detailed information on the inspection you've just conducted for them, so that they know you're doing a good job. Now, let's go through the very final piece of communication, or a couple of final pieces of communication in the app here I want to go through. One of them, back onto the tasks, because we didn't fill this in earlier because we hadn't finished the inspection just yet, we might pop in a weekly owner report comment through here about this particular inspection. Come on, whatever. Whatever that happens to, whatever you happen to want to pop into there. A little bit about the tenant feedback, a little bit about how many people turned up, however you want to word that to match the way that you work with your owners. Now, the very final piece of communication that I like to highlight in the mobile ROL app is this button top right-hand corner here. Now, Daniel has organised his inspections, and he hasn't taken into account that his next property is a 45-minute drive away. And while he's going to do his best to not get a speeding fine on his way out there, he is going to be running late. So he has the option to come through and select how long he's going to be running late and send that out to anyone who's registered. By doing so, ensures that anyone who is waiting for the inspection at the other end isn't called, well, they might still call the office, but hopefully they don't, and they know that we're on the way. All right, now to wrap things up, let's go back into the desktop. We're going to come up to our owner summary, and I'm going to send out my owner report for that property. So at 902 at 70 City Road here, coming over to my actions on the right side, I have the option to review and send my owner report. And I've got one in here where I prepared a few things earlier. So through this owner report, of course, we can see some key pieces of information about the inspections and property. you'll be able to see a graph. Yeah, well, of course, you can provide the owner a graph with your inquiries, property inquiries, and hits on there. There might be some stats around things such as lost rent if you think that's applicable for certain owners. By the way, these are all things that you can turn on or off per report. And then as we go down, we can see the number of tenants that are registered, attended, applying. We have a field for the agent comment, and we have the 2 inspections we've done through here with those comments that we made on site, along with a list of people that have gone through with their statuses updated based on what we were doing. With the exception of the agent comment up the top here, which I need to fill in at this point in time, which point we could say that we have plenty of interest and the applications look good. We'll be in touch soon. Now, I know that's a little unprofessional, but I'm trying to keep it quick. Final thing I may choose to do up the top though is I want to check my owners. So I want to make sure, yep, I've got my owners details in there. That looks good. And under my settings, I may choose to add or remove things through here. If I don't think he'll respond well to the lost rent, I might turn that off. If I feel like he would respond well to that, maybe I'll leave that on. Maybe it's the encouragement we need. And we can add a few other bits and pieces through here, of course, including tenant questions and what have you if need be. Hitting save will update that. If we come back to here, we can see, well, we've updated a few things through here. We've now got hits on graphs and a few other bits and pieces. Now, obviously, REA doesn't feed through to my system, but it would to yours. And we just need to update that before sending that. Apologies about that. Headset turned off again. I need to sort that out. All right. Now we're at the very, very end here. So we are going to send this off to the owner by clicking save. We can save it and save the changes. And then when we're ready, we just send this off to the owner through here and fire that off. That then completes that and it logs it as well. Clicking close will bring up all of our owner reports. You can see I've got 4 more to go and I can see a log of all the ones I've sent through here. With that said, that was everything we wanted to run through today in today's that's everything we wanted to run through today in this webinar. But to give you a quick recap and to ask you a few questions, I just want to encourage you to drill into your letting settings and your messages to really set these up for yourself. I want you to look at what you can report out to your owners from your home opens, because I really feel that if done right, it can save you on time and provide a better service overall. And don't forget to do your owner reporting at the end of the week. It is quick and easy, and if you've done everything at the home open already, you really only need to put a comment in there. With that said, though, I'm going to leave you just with a closing poll here. We'd love to know We'd love to know if you picked up anything new from this particular session or this particular webinar, what your favorite takeaways are, and if you are looking for more training on IRE, do let us know. That would be great if you could do so. But otherwise, thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate all of you joining us for this webinar, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.